So what I'm doing in these opening 30-second notes is I'm taking them with my right hand, all but one of them with my right hand. I looked on YouTube to see if there were any other pianists doing this, because to me, this fingering is like the magic ticket. This fingering allows me to bring out that stepwise motion better than if I were to go having it all in the left hand. And I thought, surely someone else is doing this. And just out of curiosity, I looked and I didn't see anyone using their right hand for these 30-second notes. They're all doing it with the left hand. So my point here, point number one, is that even though your sheet music says to play a series of notes with one hand, and you see everyone else doing it, let your ear guide your decisions, because you might stumble upon something better, and that was the case here. So as I say, I want to hear in each of those subject statements. And in order for me to give those notes, and you realize I've left the dotted notes out for now, and the ornaments, I just leave that off for now. That's like the whipped cream and fruit topping or whatever. We're just working on the cake right now. We're baking the cake. The toppings will come later. The sprinkles on the donut will come later. And it's those stepwise notes I want to hear. And in order to give them a rich singing tone, which requires me to use the nice cushy pillow of the finger, and also a little bit of releasing of the wrist and arm away from the body, that requires time. And even just eliminating having the right hand play that last 30-second note is actually enough time to then prepare with a nice strong finger 3, on that B going down to F sharp. You hear me singing too, and you see me waving my hand. It's all about the sound, and I want it to sound fluid and organic, plant-like, maybe is a good word. I want to avoid this, where we get an accent on that last 30-second note. It's very unattractive. It's like getting your accent on the wrong syllable. So this fingering helps with that, as does leaving out the ornaments and the dotted notes for a while as you're practicing it. What was also helpful in avoiding the dreaded crash at the end of the 30-second notes is to just take the last 4 of the 30-second notes going to the first dotted note. And as you're playing the lowest note, the highest note, that's a little 6 there, try to feel like they're not 2 separate points on the graph or markings on the page, 2 individual entities, but that they're connected, muscular, like fibers connecting those notes. Like you were making like you're finger painting, and you're making a swoosh kind of gesture on the page. Very fluid and organic. I'm not happy with that one. That one had a little bit of a bump. That's better. Now I'm left-handed, so maybe that's part of it. If my left hand is doing this kind of thing, my right hand doesn't feel the need so much to come up and sort of coax the gesture in midair, I guess is kind of what I'm doing. But I guess it's because I'm left-handed, I do that. Maybe if you're right-handed, your right hand can do this effortlessly. I do think it helps me to create more sense of this organic sound. It's not for looks. It may seem like I do a lot of things just for looks, But that's not the case. It's all about the sound. That one was not good. Nor was that. There, that was better. And then you can go through all of them in the piece. You see, I've marked the notes, the essential notes that I think, anyway, are essential to the structure of the subject of this fugue in pink, all those pink notes. But this is all, as I say, to help my ear hear. Measure 4. Every time there's one of those subjects, the pink notes are what I want to hear. I want to hear them with warmth, a beautiful, rich, honeyed tone, like there's a halo over the touch. I feel like a lot of people attack this piece. Maybe cover your ears here for this one, but this kind of thing is what I hear a lot of. Like they're a series of like jackhammers, pulsating. I'm still working on this Praline fugue, so who knows where I'll go with it in the end. But right now and lately, that's not been where I want to take it. I want a delicious, velvety singing quality. There. And then just the framework. Clear changes with each harmony. Opening up my sound by now, middle of the piece. No more pink notes here. Little sequence. And then from here on to the end, it doesn't really. This method of, from there on, that method of practice is of no use. But throughout the passages where you got those pink notes, the subject entries, absolutely. It's hard to explain, but you could, by following along with my sheet music and listening, you could see what notes I was playing and which I was leaving out. And it's just kind of giving the basic harmony there. And that method of practice, in conjunction with what we did earlier, over and over and over again, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 times, not in a row, but over the course of weeks, months, and then it trains your ear to really listen for those notes. And then you go add on the other notes, the dotted notes and the ornaments. Now these mordents, I like to feel that they're tight and with good push off on the first of the three. I don't like them wobbly sounding where the second note is like accented, or worse yet, having the accent on the last note of the mordent. And it just sounds lazy and wobbly. No, thank you. But this, let me try. Yes, there. A little touch of pedal. You can't see my foot, but I'm just putting it down like a quarter of the way and then immediately back up. In fact, I'm lifting it up before the mordent is even half done, just to warm up the quality of tone on the front of the mordent. There's a leap there in measure 2. I'm taking it, I can't break that up with the hands, between the hands anymore, because the left hand, both hands now have content. So I'm adding a little touch of pedal in there, just a tiny little bit to help avoid a hole. So those mordents, I'm trying to really feel the precision of the dotted notes. In fact, I was saying earlier to leave out the dotted notes in the ornaments. Well, the next step may actually be to add the dotted notes, but leave out the ornaments. Because then it's like the next essential step. That's how I've been practicing. And then finally I add on the ornaments. But then once the ornaments start sounding icky, then I take them off again and go back to just the stepwise. Places like measure 6. It's easy to fall into the trap when you have these 16th notes here, right? This one, those notes. It's easy for them to get clipped and to lose any richness of tone because we're focused on the strong part of the beat, whatever, or the long note, and that's all important, yes. But even the short notes, we try not to take them for granted. Sing them, and here in this case, we get 3 of those notes in a row, followed by 3 of those in a row, with all this other stuff going on underneath. And whatnot. So even though the 30-second notes are from the subject, I want to hear good tops. Bum, 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 bum. And you'll find, and you see actually on the sheet there, in measure 6, in between the second and third of those A's, and then same thing with the G's, at the bar line between 6 and 7, I put a breath mark. It looks like half of a heart, the right side of a heart, or a big comma, a big bass clef. I'm lifting my hand there so that I get a clear. So we get this. Lift, lift, right? Like lift as in completely come out of the key, to clear the sound so that when we go down for another repetition of that note, it's nice and clear with a good singing tone. And listening for tops there. And as I say, with that little 16th note, staying a little bit longer in the key. At least for me anyway, that's what I needed to do because I was clipping it a little bit too much. Some other fingering, let me just play through. You may want to see fingering that I'm doing. Let's try that. Listen to that beautiful, that A against the B. I have a little heart there. Oh, it's so delicious. Same thing there in measure 4, the clash between the G and the A. I love singing the bass there in 3, measure 3. And again, I'm listening for the tops here, that motion by step. Tops. Lift. Your fingers, as mine did, and sometimes still do, might get tangled up in these. Which finger? Is it 2, 3, 2, 4? Yeah, but the fingers are not doing it. Just again and again, go slowly, and also break it up. I find that the bulk of the hassle is in the back end of those 30-second notes. So I take those, or just those 30-second notes over and over, and then add on the long note. And let your wrist be fluid too, like a bobblehead. I think I have written somewhere on the page. Maybe that's in the prelude. Just a little bit of this. Okay, so let me carry on where I left off. Measure 6. And hear that last note too of the left end. You know, rich singing. Measure 7. You notice I'm taking that bass entry in measure 7 with my thumb. 1, 3, 2. Oh, isn't that lovely? A D major 7th chord. Lovely. Now this, that leap of a major 6th there, that's kind of a surprise to me. I mean, we had 6th there too, but the G sharp kind of surprises my ears. You can see I got a little shocked emoji there. And I really want to hear that. And even though it's an 8th note, followed by a bunch of rests, stay in the key. Give it its full value. Not just for the sake of being literal and by the book, it says to hold it for half a beat. I'm going to hold it by gosh darn it, you know. But no, hold it, well, partly yes, but hold it as if it were alive, and you don't want to, like, you're holding this little baby chick, little bird or something. You don't want to just like drop it, you know. You just like it, savor it, like put, and then place it down gently when you're finished with the note. Hear it, sing it. I like these light. I I like to hear the 16ths in the right hand against the left hand's 32nd notes. And then these little things. And when they come back later with the hands reversed, it's the same thing. Let me exit measure 10. I can't resist. Again, I got to watch the urge to crash on notes, the 4th, 16th of each beat, so that we don't get this. Just like rocks in our shoe. Bum, 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 bum. Go to there, 2, 3, 2, there, 2, 2, there, 2, 3, bum. This kind of thing. Now we have this arrival in E minor, and that was all pretty intense. It's kind of the midway point of the piece. And then we have this material that we had a moment ago where I was, right, where I was saying I like to hear the 16ths against the 32nd notes. Now the hands have switched. The left hand has the 16ths, the right hand's got the 32nd notes, and then these little guys, those fourths on their own, they're kind of funky sounding, but I like those more in the background. Okay, so this is 16. I have to also point out, right hand 16 has to get up a tenth in almost no time. Now, we want to do more than just get to the note in time. We want to have it be a beautifully crafted note in terms of its tone quality, and as in how we touch the note, how we strike it. Piano playing is all about touch, right? We have all these different keyboards on, the keyboard on our typing keyboard on our phone and the computer. To a certain extent, sometimes those things are touch sensitive, but nothing is as touch sensitive other than like touching, hugging another person and touching, physical touching. Nothing is that much that I can think of. Maybe pottery, I suppose. But like piano playing, this is about touch, right? So how you strike the key matters. And when you have to cover a vast territory like that, you want to avoid where the thumb is crashing on its note. So I find that a lot of the arm opening up away from the body and leaning into with your torso from your sitting bones kind of thing helps to prepare that high note. And a touch of pedal, just a tiny little touch. And here I'm listening for those 16ths. Sorry. More full. That was all intense. We had a stretto there, even though the subject entries are not complete. But in the soprano, alto, bass, and another in the bass. 5 entries of the front of that subject in a bar and a half. And one of them is particularly hard. The last one, beat 4 of measure 20. My score, and I actually like this fingering, says to play with the thumb. You see there's a 1 and a 4. So I'm going to substitute to 4 so I can hold that because that note has a double stem. It's functioning both as a 32nd note and a quarter note. So I can't let that note down. I'm going to play it with 4 and then 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to try to remember to scooch my thumb back onto the C sharp and then 2 on the A so that I've got 5 and 1 on the octave that follows. That's kind of tricky. That because the substitution has to happen really, really quickly. Oops, I missed it. As soon as you play it, I mean, you can't, I don't think you could start it with finger 4 because of what's coming before. So, and you don't want to cheat and let that note off early. So the substitution works there. Downbeat of 21. When much of this piece is quite chordal, right? There's just like a lot of blocked chords throughout. And when you have one that's like as definite as this one is here, and we saw it earlier too with some of those 16ths in measure 6, but like come out of the key so that you can come down fresh from above to get a really clear sound and that it's not blurred as if it's still part of. But like maybe if you're using a touch of pedal, clear it as well. Because we also have 2 of those C sharps, and we want the second one to be nicely articulated. Sorry. I use 4 there, measure 23. I'm taking that G of the right hand last chord in 26 with my left hand so that I can have a cleaner trill in my right hand, and I'm trilling with 4-1 a couple of times, maybe 3 times, and then 3-4 for the mordant, and then substitute to 5, and then the chord there. And I'm still working through the piece, but I will be performing it in the near future, knock on wood, with the prelude. So thanks for watching and happy practicing to you. Stay well, stay safe, and we'll see you again soon for more performances and explorations of Bach's music. Take care. Bye-bye.